Hi everyone, good morning. Oh my God, it's the day after Christmas. I am so excited to be here because I had an awesome Christmas. I had a Christmas or a holiday or however you want to call it because I really don't care. Um, this weekend was full of self-discovery and it was full of challenges. And due to this weekend and the challenges that it brought with it, I decided to do today's Tuesday tea with Annie. I hope you brought your tea. It's so warm and awesome here with my tea because actually, like I've mentioned, my space in the house is the one without heating because I like the windows. So today, rather than coming from my office space, we're talking from my reading nook. So I hope you enjoy my books. Back there, there's a lot of Hamilton, if you can tell. Anyways, let's jump right into it because I didn't announce this live. I was so into the holidays and opening presents and giving presents that I forgot to announce it. So I don't really think that there's going to be a lot of people showing up today. Okay, so let's jump right in. So, like I mentioned, this holiday was a little bit intense for me, and it was because it felt like a first time, even though I've been here in the United States for well, this is my third Christmas here. It felt like a first time. I think that's because this year I finally established my business and whatnot. So there was a lot of anxiety built up during this weekend, and I couldn't understand why. And if you're anything like me, and I'm speaking to you, my control freak sisters, um, when I feel anxious, I go into controlling mode. So, what does controlling mode look to me? So, when I feel like things are spiraling out of control in my life, then I need to take control. So, whatever I can control, I do. So, I rearranged furniture, I cleaned out my closet, I nagged at my husband, whatever it is that I think that I can control, I go at it. So there was a lot of that going on this weekend because I felt a little out of control, with the holidays, meeting with family, family dynamics are very different for everyone. Plus, in my case, I have my family far away from me. So that there was a lot of added situations there. But what I really want to focus in was the realization that I had this weekend about being a woman and about how I and some of us react to the idea of losing control. Okay, so as some of you know, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and this means that I every day strive to really get in touch with myself rather than pretend to be or wanting to be accepted or perfect for the outside world. I believe that a lot of my anxiety and a lot of people anxiety comes from this bogus ideas that we have about what being perfect feels, about what life is supposed to look like. I think that anxiety has a lot to do with not knowing what's going to happen. So it's this fear of the unknown. There's this wonderful phrase that I can't remember who said it actually, that says that depression is it's an excess of past and anxiety is an excess of future. So what does this mean? It means that when we are struggling with anxiety, we are always one step ahead. We're always wondering, okay, so what if? What's the worst case scenario? What if things don't go right? What if I'm not good enough? So there's a whole what if component there, and I love it because my friend Sarah Noel Wilson, who's also a coach, says that what she does to work through her anxiety is just answer the what if question. But in my case, I had no what ifs this weekend. There was nothing that I could really pinpoint to, like work or any fight that I was having with anyone. There was no basis for my anxiety that logic could answer to. But then I realized that there was something that I was not taking into consideration. And this is when I wrote down at the on the caption of this live, pay attention. This is the focus of this conversation that we're going to have today. It's all about paying attention. So when we feel like things are going out of control, there's a moment that we need to pause. So I invite you to pause and observe. So what is really going on with you? In my case, I got to look at my life. I got to look at what was going on. And I was able to observe a few symptoms that don't really go with my regular life. So not only was I anxious, I was not sleeping at all. Like I was only getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night. Um, I was just completely unable to focus at any rate, which is not normal for me on my regular anxiety bouts. And I realized that I have felt this before. It turns out that every month around the same time, I get extremely anxious, and these symptoms show up for me. So yeah, I am talking about my cycle. I am talking about my hormones, but I am talking about something that I had never paid enough attention to because I was too distracted. Okay. So paying attention to yourself, listening to your body, listening to your needs is the first step towards regaining that imaginary control that we think we lose sometimes. Because control is imaginary. We have control over nothing. Maybe our sphincter sometimes, and it depends. If we can find the bathroom soon enough, it doesn't really happen the way we want to. So what I'm trying to say here is that in order for us to really start feeling a sense of peace, of connection, in order for us to really start relinquishing that sense of anguish that comes with anxiety, that sense of, fear that comes with it. And the reason why I say this, like in order to do that, we need to really pay attention to ourselves, really pay attention to the things that matter to you, really pay attention to the needs of your body, okay? Because anxiety manifests itself physically. So you need to pay attention to what that means. So what did my particular discovery give me? It gives me the basis to plan ahead. So now I know that if every month I am susceptible to a moment in the day or a moment in the month and a moment in the cycle that I'm going to feel anxiety, and it's going to manifest in a very particular set of symptoms. So what do? Now I plan around it. I set up a massage. I make sure I am working out. I make sure I am meditating. I make sure I am nurturing my body. And most importantly, I let go during that time. So one of the most important things that's going to start happening for me is that during this period of time, I make no decisions. Why? Because when we're anxious, we are prone to making a lot of decisions, and most of them are stupid, and most of them we can't hold on to. Why? Because we are making these decisions in a haste so that we can maintain control. So I want you to picture yourself when you are feeling anxious, you always want to do something. You want to do something to stop feeling this way. So that is why you go into controlling mode. That is why I go into controlling mode. But most of the decisions we make when we're going through a very hard anxiety episode or very hard feeling of things are falling apart, it don't usually serve us because we are not looking at it with clarity. So we need to separate ourselves from that moment, even if it's just for 5 minutes, even if it's just for 10 minutes. If you haven't seen the interview I did with Dr. Becca Lake, I am going to post it in the page again because it was really powerful. One of the things that she recommends is that, you step out of the situation, literally step out of the room for 5 minutes and listen to yourself. Okay, so that is what I invite you to do today. I invite you to pay attention. This is going to be a very sweet and short video because it's very sweet and short, the topic. It's not as complicated as we think, but I know that if you're out there and you struggle with anxiety and you struggle with mental illness rather than just the hormonal situation, this is going to sound like bullshit for you. But you know what? You get to start where you are. And if there's one thing that you can do, one tiny, tiny thing, even if it's just once a month, that can help you not feel like crap all through the day, then do it. And let me know how it goes. So this is my invitation to you. From now on, and you can start today, and that this is why I journal. and I will always journal in my life. So I recommend that every day you step into your whatever space that you've created for yourself and write down how you're feeling. It's an emotional process. But the most important thing is that, and what I do and what I did this weekend is that I went to last month's pages. So I went back 28, 21 days, and I looked at how I was feeling at that moment, and it was the exact same thing, And that is what we sometimes ignore. So if we pay attention, if we write down how we're feeling, if we're able to look back into the same type of days, into the same emotions, then we will be able to see the patterns. And once you see something, you can't unsee it. Okay? And once you really connect with it, you will be able to start doing things differently. And that's what we're here for. We're here to do things differently. So the different action that I want you to take today is to start paying attention. Step out of the room. Write down your emotions. Look back into what you wrote and start doing things differently, whatever that looks like for you, to attain the peace that you need. And maybe that is just sit still, because let me tell you something. It's hard for me. It's really, really hard to face the fact that control doesn't really exist. I just give things my max effort, and I have no power over the result. And I am very grateful that I am now getting to connect with my higher power, and that I am putting a lot of my faith. And I hope that at one point I will be able to say that I turned my will and my life to my higher power, because I know that there's a lot of my personal peace that I am going to find with that when that happens. But I'm going to keep you posted on that, because you know what? I know that I'm not the only one, and I want you to know that you're not the only one. There's a lot of us struggling with anxiety, and whatever coach, whatever therapist claims that they do not know how this feels like, or that they have it sorted out, is lying to you. And that's bullshit, and I don't believe in doing that. I actually believe in sharing with you what I have done and I keep doing to better myself, because this journey never ends. This is why I have a coach. This is why I actually have two coaches, and this is why I go to therapy, and this is why I aim for creating support environments. So create those things for you. Stop denying that how you feel, it's not right for you. If it doesn't feel right, then you get to do things about it. So I invite you to start doing things differently, and I invite you more than anything to pay attention, okay? So if you pay attention, you will be able to find the patterns, and when you find the patterns, you will be able to do something about it. Afterwards, you just need to want to do something about it, okay? Okay, everyone, so again, this was short and sweet, and it was very personal. I don't really know how many people are going to watch it, but I am really excited to be able to share more of this information, because I believe it's going to be a life changer for me, and I hope that it can be a life changer for you. So this was Tuesday Tea with Annie. I hope that you have a great Tuesday and a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.